Well, I'd like to welcome everyone to our BFSI weekly update. Nice opportunity for Buck and I to get together, talk about things that are existing in the industry and ways that how these situations that are occurring in the industry affect our fintech audience today. So, Buck, you had a few questions that to lead our discussion that you wanted
Sure.
to.
Yeah, we spoke about it a couple of times. So, good morning, Rain. First, Wayne, how are you doing on this rainy Saturday morning?
Doing well, trying to stay dry.
Okay. So, I've been working with a startup lately, last maybe 3 or 4 months, and some issues I'm seeing, and I wanted to pick your brains on that today. You know, excellent idea by the founder of the startup. I mean, honestly, Wayne, it's a unicorn level idea. That high degree of potential and intellectual property there. But what I'm seeing is uh, there is no clear idea in the founder's mind as to who exactly is he going to sell this to. Who is his customer or her customer? Do you see that a lot in startups in your dealings with many of them or the incubators that you support?
You know, Buck, I think it's an excellent question. And it is one of the things that really I focus on and I'm concerned about because the fintech founder has some very strong views. They may understand the market. They may see how their solution may fit into the market, but many are very focused inwardly with regards to building their product and don't necessarily focus outside. They don't necessarily focus on the industry. They may not understand fully where the industry changes and why their product may need to be tweaked in order to understand that, because many are just focused inside, very inside focused. So one of the things that can really is needed is that there needs to be a focus not only on the internal environment, but on the external environment. For example, who is going to be the customer? Who's going to be the customer that pays for that? What does that product look like for them? And really taking that downstream. And I think, Buck, you'll be quite surprised with there are some companies that are not just necessarily startups that have that are in this dilemma. I've come across companies that are in late stage. I've come across companies that are already with their Series A and still need to better understand what their product looks like and how they need to sell their product amidst a ecosystem that's constantly in flux or changing.
Mm, that's right. That's what I'm feeling so terrible about it, Wayne. I mean, this young lady, absolutely brilliant, an idea she has got that can, make a huge impact on the technology security space. But I was trying to tell her that, you are nowhere near ready to go to investors. You will not be able to raise funds, and it will be just a waste of time or even painful experience for you. But you know how entrepreneurs are, once they get passionate about something, they don't see much reason. So finally, I took her to one or two VC friends of mine, and what I was suspecting would happen actually happened. The guy told her to her face that you have got a great solution looking for a problem. And it's very sad. It's very sad.
So here's a suggestion of what I have been doing and working with some of the fintech companies that I advise.
Mhm.
I'll give you a use case of one particular situation. The company has developed a very slick piece of architect, a very slick solution. But the question is, as an outsider looking in, I questioned what is this product solving in the marketplace and how are you positioning this to your potential customers? So what I've done is that I have a network of people that are in the financial services space as product managers. They work closely with vendors around technology-based solutions. And so we've had a sidebar conversation with one of them. And the interesting part that I found fascinating is that the way the company was positioning their product, when we had an opportunity to vet this out with a banker of a top 50 bank, the way
Okay.
that they looked at the product was very different as compared to the way that this fintech was developing the product. So what does that tell you? It tells you that many times fintech CEOs look internal, but taking that one step of looking external to see what the market really needs, what the market really wants, and what they will pay for is necessary. Because
That's
until the fintech company or the company does that to understand the outside environment, the challenge will be that they may not be as successful and they may not be able to get the buyers that they need to make their company successful.
So I think this is where the importance of what we keep saying all the time to our BFSI members, that early on identify some board advisors, some mentors
Mhm,
who can
mhm,
provide you that other perspective that you are missing.
mhm, mhm.
That's
You,
good.
you, you know, I think that's a really fascinating concept because one of the advantages of BSFI Tech Talks is that with the background that we have as founders and also with our members, it's a fascinating opportunity for companies to align themselves with us to kind of vet out what their solution looks like. Because when you have experienced founders, experienced bankers, experienced technology and IT gurus, the vast knowledge that they bring to a situation is invaluable. And it's all about that network and pulling that network that's going to help a company to be successful. And I think that's where I think we have a very strong alignment. Many times you think that if a founder or a fintech executive wants to run things by someone who may not have been involved in successes and failures, may not have that experience of really looking at things from a strategic standpoint. I think that the this fintech founder is short-sighted and not necessarily embracing the full opportunities that they could embrace by
Mm.
opening up their advisors or their support or their mentors. All this can really help that fintech because you hear different voices, so you have a different audience, and you can really benefit from that. But it takes a lot of courage on the part of the fintech founder, and many times we see that they're so focused on what they're building
Right.
that it's hard for them to take that temperature check. But we really urge them to do this because that's only going to contribute to a solid product, a solid company, and just very positive influence in the industry.
In fact, I'll simply extrapolate what you're saying, Wayne, to this very case that I'm currently working with. What I'm realizing is the founder has some informal mentors or advisors, but they are from her own field,
Mm,
right? So she is a PhD and they are also PhDs in similar subject areas.
hmm
What I think we should say is that go out and get some advisors or mentors who do what you do not do.
Yeah.
I think that will give you that right balance and perspective.
That's really interesting, and that's something that it takes time to really understand and to embrace. I know with some of the fintech companies that I advise, it's something that's very important because you look at common threads, common themes. Because when you look at another industry,
Right.
even though that industry could be very different than what you've worked with, there could be some common threads associated with that. And I'll give you an example. We have some mentors that are athletes and that were ex-professional athletes, so they
Okay.
were focusing on their sport. But now they have advised fintech companies. And so they're advising fintech companies, even though they have not built a technology-based solution. What do they bring to the table as an athlete? Well, they mentioned that they bring discipline, they bring focus, they understand what it's like to work in a team environment. And so those core competencies or core assets can help a fintech company because a fintech company needs to understand what it's like to work in a team environment. That's a challenge. They
That's
also need uh, information and help on to stay focused despite challenges. One of the athletes have mentioned that they had worked through an injury. They had to. They had to work through having injuries. Well, we don't think a fintech founder is going to be, faced with a physical injury, but can they work through a challenge? Can they
absolutely.
work through a challenge successfully if they stay focused on a common goal? So I,
Sorry.
I agree with you 100%. I've seen that, and I'm currently seeing this. To advisors can be across multiple industries, and that can add a lot of value to the fintech.
Okay. In fact, I can't resist adding one more point. You mentioned about, injuries or, accepting defeat, accepting rejection. These are not easy things. And one more point comes to my mind when you speak of athletes. I often think about that, Wayne, is that, today in IT or anywhere, there is a very strong current of, agile, being very agile. One of the traits of being agile is that don't do things too much ahead of time. Do when you need to do something. And I will not be able to think of a better example than a top class athlete. If you have got a Nadal or a Novak or a Federer, they are they have got that much stability of their mind that they will wait till the last fraction of second till they actually hit the ball back, you know. And I think that's an incredible trait of agility that they have, you know, because our sometimes people do things way too much ahead of time, and actually that's a cause of failure for many people.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And another point quickly, Wayne, is also these startups. I see that, you know, they're brilliant people, they're thinking about a lot of things at the same time. And I mean, this guy has got like 8 products right now in development. And I'm trying to figure out that how he or his partner, she, are seeing the connection between those 8 products, or how will the customer see a connection. So now they have slowly started thinking about it for the first time after 2.5 years of backbreaking work. And all they can tell me is that no, they are not connected. I said, if you are not, they are not connected, why are you selling them as one, you know, company or one product or one, whatever it is? I mean, it is so much waste of energy, and, you know, it's so scary because a customer is not able to figure out what exactly are you trying to sell to me.
Right,
And
right.
that is something I think entrepreneurs need to become much more careful about.
Well, you know, one of the suggestions then, Buck, in this particular case, obviously the CEO founder may although they have many multiple products that they're developing, it will be a good conversation to understand who the customer really is. Who's that end customer? Then once you have that end customer, it will be interesting to create a user group or maybe to have conversations one-on-one to understand how they view the products, how they view the multiple products, and how they're able to ingest those products within the organization. Uh, Many times without having those conversations, and this is a dilemma not only for just startups. I've seen even companies that are publicly traded companies have the same situation. But until an organization understands who's going to buy and how they're going to buy, that's really important. One of the problems that I see is that with many technology-based solutions, one person doesn't buy that product. That product is going to be bought by a jury, meaning it's going to be a group of people that are going to have to weigh in. And if this jury of buyers at an organization don't understand what that product looks like, don't understand how that product is going to work internally, if they don't understand how they're going to support that product within the organization, then they're not going to purchase it. So we have to be real clear and crisp with regards to what that product looks like, what problem is that problem going, the product is going to solve, what type of problem, how that organization is going to make money off of that, how that margin is going to be so that it's sustainable and long term. That's a very complex situation. And the less confusion that we can give them with regards to what the end result's going to be, the more successful that fintech is going to be by selling that product within an organization.
So I think listening to you, I'm getting a very simple vision in front of my mind that you have got an idea, which is point A. Now, first focus on where do you want to go and fix your point B, and only then start building the road.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know, the interesting aspect, I do a lot of work in strategic planning is one of from my background. And I always put together a SWOT analysis. I put together a SWOT analysis just for basic decisions that I have to make. And I think that's really important because that SWOT analysis of the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and the threat, how that relates to a company's product, then they could better map where they need to be, but they have to do their outside research. And it takes away the internal struggle and dilemma and puts it outside in the industry to see how that solution is, if that product is really meeting a need and what that need would look like, how they can quantify it, and how they can build revenues against it.
Absolutely. Hey, I think this was great. I hope our members enjoy this. And if anyone needs to, shoot a mail back to me or Wayne, and we'll be happy to discuss that with you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Buck. You know, one of the things that we also want to make available to our members as well is if they have questions that they would like answered, that we can answer, we're welcome and open to doing that. And we'll put that contact information also as we post this link, so we can see how we can help other fintech CEOs with regards to their own trajectory. But this is a great conversation that we had. And Buck, we look forward to our next conversation next week, where we're going to provide another timely update.
Let's do that. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.
You have a great weekend as well.
Bye. Bye.